Hello everyone and welcome back to Overwatch 101. This is a series where I try to help Overwatch console players get a little bit better at the game. Not saying you're bad, not saying that there aren't really good players on console. Obviously there are, but I think we all know that the pro scene is on PC, right? So what I'm trying to do is take those pro scene PC tips, okay, and give them to you on console, okay? Because I know for some people console is just a more natural platform, right? You like the feeling of a controller versus mouse and keyboard, or maybe you can't afford PC. I know that's quite a lot of the cases as well. I can't afford a PC, so there you go. Alright, today we're going to cover Numbani defense, and Numbani defense is surprisingly simple, right? It might not be easy to pull off depending on how aggressive the attackers are, but it is surprisingly simple, okay? Not a whole lot of flair here, not a whole lot of glitz and glam. The attacking team is going to be coming right through there almost every time, and they see a lot of success doing that. So, what you have to do is be up here to meet them, okay? You can really hold them down there in that room for a long time, okay? You can trap them like a mouse in here, okay? You absolutely do not want to let them have this high ground, because if he grabs that high ground, look at all he can see, right? He can see so much from up here. So this is super advantageous for him to have this high ground. We don't want to let that happen, okay? So we absolutely have to hold them in there. We have to do a lot of damage. We have to break the Reinhardt shield, and then we go in and we be aggressive and we fight it out and we get those pickoffs, right? Now you can see a lot of success doing this, a lot, versus defending on the payload. If you defend down here on the payload, right, on the objective, you're going to get slaughtered. Because they're going to have that high ground. They're just going to fire into your shield, right? And then once it's broken, then it's game over. Then everyone is dead, right? For the most part. Okay, if you hold, once your Reinhardt shield is broken down here, that is a miracle. You are very lucky to do that, okay? Or you're very skilled. Either one. You always want to be up here. If you get a team wipe, right, you get lots of kills, you always stay up here, right? There's no fallback spot, okay? This is it. Now, I mean, obviously, your snipers can be over there, right, doing their thing. Your Symmetra can be back here doing her thing, right? You have to let your DPS do what they will. But as a Reinhardt, right, your two tanks, your two healers, they need to be up here, right? And it is nice to have at least one DPS up here to help you combat the Reinhardt when he does something like that, which he will, right? He kind of has to, right? He's forced to be aggressive, and that's fine. Well, let's say that they are aggressive. Let's say that they take this high ground, okay? Well, the best thing to do, okay, is to be over here, alright? Be over here, give them that distance, okay? And then when they jump down, then you can be aggressive and fight it out, right? If they take high ground, you just have to give them distance, and you just have to let your sneaky Bastions or Torbjorns or whatever do what they can, right? Try to do as much damage to them as they can. Same thing with the snipers, right? You give them distance when they're up there, and then when they jump down, then you come and you fight it out for what's yours. Alright, moving on. Try to do these a little bit more quickly. Let's say they take that payload, right? Let's say that we got outplayed, okay? Well, their spawn is right there. So you absolutely are not going to hold at this choke any longer. This is over with. This is done, okay? If they get that payload, then that's it. You cannot hold here, okay? You have to back up because they're just going to beat you over the head from right there. You have to back up to right here, okay? This is still pretty close to spawn, but you have this nice cover here where they can't shoot you from spawn, okay? So they're going to have to come around the corner and meet you. Okay, and that's when you be aggressive, that's when you fight it out, that's when you get your pickoffs. Try to hold them here as long as you can. And we discussed in the other video why you want to hold them this close. The reason is because the rest of the way to the choke point is kind of not necessarily downhill. It obviously is right here. That's one reason why you are absolutely not to be right here. This is death. This is a low ground. You're just going to get fired into a lot, and you're going to die. You absolutely do not hold right here between the wall and the bus. No, this is death, okay? You hold up here at the top of the hill and at the corner of the building. This is where you hold, okay? This is the first spot you hold. You do your best, okay? And if everybody gets picked off, okay, if they start moving, all right, then we're just going to have to back up. All right. Now, I've seen a few teams hold here really well between this truck and the wall, right? This choke. I've seen it happen. But you do have to be aware that there is a flank that they can take, right? Around there, and then upstairs, and then boom, right? They're above you. Now that is super dangerous. So I've seen teams hold here, but if you're getting team wipes, right? If you're getting a lot of pickoffs, and then you don't hear from them for a while, it might be pretty obvious as to where they went, okay? So holding here can be dangerous. That's not to say it's not a nice choke to hold at, okay? Especially if the entire team is right in front of you, then yeah, you want to be aggressive, you want to fight it out, you want to keep this choke point held. But, okay, maybe have a flanker, like a sniper or anything like that, keeping an eye on that high ground, okay? And letting you know what's happening so that you can quickly back off, right? Give them space and then attack them from here. You always want someone who is a lookout, right? It's a shot caller, a lookout person, whatever you want to call them, okay? So this is an okay place to hold, but you do have to be careful of right here, and you have to be very careful of above, okay? So when you're holding here, you just have to be vigilant. Their checkpoint is right here. So if they push it kind of into that bend, really your only shot is to just hold between this Jeep and that wall, okay? And this is an okay place to hold because they can't really sneak up on you too much anymore. They can take this right through this little room right here, but your flankers are also going to be working this room, right? So, I mean, they're going to meet them in here. They're going to tell you about the threat. You're not going to be receiving too much danger from that room if your DPS is playing appropriately, right? You just have to fight it out. You just have to be aggressive because you don't want them to have that, right? This is just the last straw here on this checkpoint, is to just fight it out and to be as aggressive as you can be. All right. Now, let's say they get that checkpoint. It's unfortunate, but it happens. Let's say they get that checkpoint. You do not want to hold right here in front of the checkpoint, because their spawn is right over there, okay, right over there. So they could pretty much literally shoot you from spawn. You do not want to be holding here. This is way too close. And you're in a hallway choke, right? There's a lot less room to move around in here. Where you do want to be is on the other side of this hallway choke, right here, okay? You can absolutely hold right here for quite a while, but the number one thing you have to look out for is the flanks. The right flank and the left flank, okay? You have to watch these. You have to have someone watching, because if they don't, the entire team is going to be taken by surprise, and then you're all dead, and then they're going to move the payload a really long way before you can all get back out to contest. So you absolutely have to have someone on vigilant watch, right? You absolutely have to have someone. If they go around and they take that, okay, then you just back up to right here, okay? You don't want to back up into that room, right? Because even though there's a nice big health pack, it's dangerous to corner yourself, okay? You don't want to be up, you don't want to be back this far, because they can just jump down onto the payload and start moving it. But being right here, right, at the outside corner of this bend in the road is a nice place to be to keep your distance from attackers from up there, okay? And you can be close enough to the payload to keep it contested. Alright, but let's say they move. Let's say they take this area where you were at this bend in the road, okay? Well, right here is also a really nice place to hold between this tree and the wall, okay? Right here is a really nice place to hold because you can easily see them go in there, right? They'll be right in front of you. You can see them try and do that. You can easily see them go around, right? Because they have no way to get from their spawn to going around there without you seeing them somehow. You can see them in that room there, or in that doorway, I should say, going around there. You can easily call that out. The one thing you have to watch for is still up there. You have to have someone working that room, running surveillance, making sure that they're not doing that, because this can be a really nice place to hold, but all it takes is one Reaper with his ult, or one McCree with his ult to do some zoning, to do some backing off, right? To make you back off and to make you more submissive to what they're doing. That's all it takes for them to back you off and for them to start moving that payload. Okay? So you just have to be vigilant. You just have to keep a watchful eye, right? You have to have someone doing that, because your job as Reinhardt is to guard your team from the attacking team, the attacking front that's coming from right here. But you have to have someone calling that out, okay? Same thing for there. Have someone watching that door as well. Alright, let's say they push to this bend in the road. Well, this is the next place you hold. And this is actually a really nice place to hold. There's only one disadvantage, is that you can no longer see those doors over there. So you can no longer see if they're taking a flank to go all the way around and catch you over there, right? So, yes, this is a nice place to hold right here. You can see that flank up there, you can see there, and you can see straight ahead, okay? This is nice. But you do have to have someone watching behind. You have to. I can't stress that enough. Someone needs to be keeping a watchful eye from behind. Alright? But let's move on. Let's say that they push. Alright? This is the next best place to hold because you have this kind of hallway between this wall and that wall, right? It creates a little bit of a hallway, and this can be very hard for them to move through. You can see them if they try to go over there to the left. You can see them take that way. You can see them taking, like, coming from there or coming from up there, right? You can still see these things from here. But the right is still very dangerous once you get to this point, right? So have an eye over here. Have someone watching what's going on here. They might all go through this room right here and just come flooding out here and attack your team, come bowling into them like a wave, and then it's done, right? Then everyone's dead and it's over with, right? So you have to have a vigilant eye for over there. Okay? Now, like I said, you don't have to watch too much to your left because you're going to see them take those flanks. You're going to see that happening, okay? There's only like really one hero who can get over here without anyone seeing, and that's Sombra and like maybe Reaper, right? Maybe he'll be able to teleport up here behind you without you seeing that he's doing that, okay? Maybe. But you're usually going to want to keep your vigilant eye to the right, okay? And then once they push like this far, it's kind of just once again a contest fest, okay? When you come flooding out of spawn, you just want to do as much damage as you can. You just want to get on the payload, okay? And start doing your thing. You just want to do your ults. You want to do what you can, okay? It's really up to you what you do when you start contesting and panicking, right? It's really up to skill at that point. It's up to chance. It's up to smart decisions, right? Target priority, things like that. But that's really all you can do is hope for a good ult and hope for team wipe and then for the overtime to run out, right? That's really all we can hope for at that point if they do get this far, okay? Well, that's been Numbani defense. Those are the best tips I can give you. I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope your Numbani defensive endeavors go well in the future. It can be held really easily, right? It's not really that hard to hold. You just have to keep a vigilant eye on your flanks. That's all it takes, okay? And of course, aggression. But you guys know that. All right. This has been Overwatch 101, signing off.